want to fill us in on your PlayStation experience and also Xbox?
Yeah, so we got the Xbox. We did our unboxing videos. Hopefully you guys watched that. I'm more of an Xbox fanboy than I am PlayStation. I love everything, but I was way more hyped for Xbox. So happy I got that. My brother was very nice and let me borrow his PS5 because I pre-ordered it for him. So I got that one first, and I knew I had to plow through Miles Morales first. So I get my Xbox, I set it up, I move everything over. Yes, the UI is not changed, right? There's like the dynamic backgrounds. It's faster. So those are great, little upgrade of life type of situations, right? So
It's much
it's still worth
snappier
it.
too.
Wait,
Yeah,
I mean,
It's much
can
snappier.
I cut you off real quick? Because I wanted
Yeah.
to say this before you started.
Hell yeah.
If Xbox wouldn't have rolled out that UI like 2 weeks or something before the new systems came out, I think it would have been better. Like you would have felt like you had a new quote unquote
Yeah.
UI. And me personally I was very confused why they wanted to demo it on last gen and then say that this was their new UI for the upcoming gen. I didn't understand that personally.
And maybe part of their plan is like, we're not leaving you behind, right? We're bringing you with us.
Which I get. Yeah, but I just felt like that experience would have been better on the new system.
Yeah, and right now, if the people who have like who are like in the, not the developers, but they have like they're in the program where they get to do all the beta stuff. Like people have already posted photos of like, here's more dynamic backgrounds and all this stuff. Had that been there day one for Xbox Series X users and not for Xbox One X people, so it's like, here's the extra features you're getting from the UI before, I think that might have made it feel a little bit more livelier, a little bit more happier for Series X people. But having the same UI, yeah, it's not as fun as having like the new UI for PS5. But the upside of that is all of the major bugs that people are having with PlayStation with the new UI is not there because it is already rolled out. So people aren't having as many problems with the Xbox UI than they are with the PlayStation UI, right? So give and take, right? PlayStation seems like it's more flashy and everything. Because it's brand new, it's a shiny new toy and everyone wants to play with it. But when you have Xbox, yeah, it's their bread and butter, right? They're like, here's what we have, you guys already know how to use it. This generation now is for games, so just hop into your games, you guys already know how to use this, go.
And that's not a knock on Xbox by any means, because they told us that this is going to be, we don't want you to feel left behind, so whether you get it or not, you're still going to be on the similar playing ground as your previous Xbox One X. So just to make that clear.
Yeah. And so I downloaded everything, moved everything over. I played, I know Rob, I watched his video today. He's talking about his comfort foods and his comfort things. He said he loved Tetris. I played Tetris Connected Effect first.
Oh man, I played a little bit of that too.
How was it?
Oh, it's amazing. I played that for 2 days because I was like, I'm gonna play Miles Morales. Let me get the PS5 when I get it. So I don't want to jump into Valhalla yet, So I get Tetris Effect, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, it's just Tetris. And then the music's starting to pump in a little bit. And then you get a combo, and then it's a bright flash, and you're like, all right, I'm feeling it. And then you keep getting combos, and it just keeps drawing you in. And I've started sitting on my couch, and I started getting closer and closer and closer and closer. Like, I'm feeling it, man. I'm feeling it. So
you love to hear it.
Anyone, if I haven't played Tetris for years, right? But if you want to play Tetris again, this is the way to jump back in.
Dude, I wish I could play Tetris 99 on Switch.
Yeah,
that was fun. That was fun.
Yeah. But this, I guess there's multiplayer. I'd love to play with 2 other people where you like do like a raid boss type of thing. I want to do that. But then so like
Tetris VR.
All right, we'll get on that next week.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, we'll get on that next week. Hit me
up. Yeah. And so then Xbox was fine, right? I didn't really start Assassin's Creed Valhalla, just doing little things, playing like Ori, looks great.
You have Valhalla on your Xbox, not your PlayStation?
No, I got it for Xbox. So, and I'm gonna knock Xbox here after I talk about PlayStation. Okay, so as an Xbox fanboy, I'm gonna be bashing them a little bit
here. Fair. At
least
you're honest.
So So I pop in PlayStation 5, get it. It's huge. I finally get everything to fit in my entertainment center. Pop in Miles Morales. It looks awesome. I'm so happy to be playing back in the Spider-Man universe. Everything looks great. I didn't even try graphics mode. Just go to performance mode right away. Everything is so silky smooth. I am swinging way happier than I did in the original Spider-Man on PS4, on the base PS4. So this is a big jump for me.
Okay.
Going from PS4.
Oh, you
PS5.
weren't even on a Pro.
No.
So is that what you played Horizon on and stuff?
That's what I played Horizon on too.
You missed out,
and it didn't explode?
No, dude,
it almost blew up my original PlayStation. I swear to God.
Yeah. I had no time for it to explode because I have to wait 4 or 5 minutes for a screen.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, the load times
to load
are long as hell.
Yeah. So no, I played PlayStation 5, like you're saying. Miles Morales was really, really fun game. It's it's short. It's 8 hours I think I put into it, so it was quick for me to play. I was happy to do that. I played Astro's Playroom. That was really fun. Brought back a lot of PlayStation memories, and the controller feels great. At first when I held it, it's bigger than the PS4 controller. So I was like, I don't know how much I like this, but it felt really nice in my hands. I got really small hands.
Wait, do you like really the Xbox controller better or I'm talking all gens. What do you prefer?
Including the DualSense 5?
Yeah, I still prefer the Xbox controller. I will always take offset sticks. It just feels nicer for first-person shooters. It just feels right, I should say. And that all goes back to the N64 controller, right? That when you're playing in that middle stick, it's the thumb is here, not to the side. It's up. So that's how I'm used to playing playing Bond. It was there, going straight up. So that's more similar to when you're playing the Xbox controller.
You're just using offset.
You just right? blew my mind. Okay.
That's
same. I just I need offset sticks too.
That's why.
You're showing your age, buddy.
Exactly.
I remember GoldenEye, but that makes sense.
Right, because exactly. No one reached across. They went up, right? And that's what taught me. And so when Xbox came out, the stick was there. It always made me like that controller. So that's the reason I like the controller more. But the things that PS5, the DualSense is doing, there's no question when there's a new Xbox Series X refresh, they're adding all that into a controller. They
already made that article. You saw that article?
Yeah. There's no question. Yeah. They're doing it.
Phil Spencer's like, shit, we should have did that.
Yeah, there's no question. So that's coming. So overall, PlayStation 5, very happy with it. Yeah. I got Demon Souls waiting. I can't wait to play Last of Us 2. It's got the haptic feedback that they added in. It's at 6
You're getting the free upgrade too for Last of Us.
Ghost of Tsushima. I'm super excited to play that. My backlog is super exciting and super annoying because I want to get to everything now, right? And then so I go and I beat Astro's Playroom and I beat Spider-Man, and now I'm back to AC Valhalla. The screen tearing. What the hell's going on?
Dude, they just released an update before you go on. There's no option to save right now, and if you play the game, it just you'll go right back to where you opened.
I think that's more of a PlayStation thing because my Xbox is saving fine.
It's on PlayStation and PS. I heard, and like a few Xbox people have said it.
Got it.
PC, I should say. PC is the worst with it right now.
I definitely want to have a small conversation on Valhalla because I think a lot of us were playing it. I think 3 of us, at least on 3 different systems. So on PS5, Xbox, and we got PC.
PC, yeah.
Keep going.
But you keep going. But I want to come back to that because
I really like the game. I'm one of those people that likes to just do the missions and stuff, But in this game, I'm trying to do everything, and I know I don't have time, but I'm trying to do everything. But the HDR, this is more Ubisoft, I think. The HDR is garbage on the Xbox for this game. For other games, it looks great. But the Xbox, because I guess the GDKs, the game developer kits went out later than PlayStation. The games are behind. Dirt 5 looks better on PlayStation 5, even though Xbox has the more powerful system, right? Yeah. There's another game too, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It doesn't have the screen tearing, but Xbox has the screen tearing. Right? Unless you have a variable refresh rate TV, that's the way that you're getting around that.
Are you playing Valhalla on performance or on?
Yeah, performance.
What is it?
I'm getting
4K 30.
No. 4K,
right now it is, 4K, I believe.
No, it's 4K 60. It is 60.
I thought they were putting in a patch to move it up to 4K 60.
So that's for the Series S. The Series S was only at 30 frames, but they now can do 60 frames. But Series X was always 4K 60, and when it looked good, it looks good. But those cutscenes with the screen tearing, it's only the cutscenes too, right? The gameplay's fine. So
your cutscenes?
Those are cutscenes. So when you're all that stuff's going on, so it's bad. But so with Xbox, I'm really, really disappointed that they couldn't get their kits out early enough, because now I'm afraid that Cyberpunk is going to be better on PlayStation 5.
A lot of people have been saying that it's going to be better on PlayStation.
I'm going to jump
in, and that's disappointing for me.
With my Valhalla experience, because I think I'm having some similar disappointments to you playing it on Xbox, and I didn't know it was some of those issues on Xbox. So maybe there are some of those performance issues, but I think part of it might just be the game. It feels like they just like got pegged as this launch title, but they made a PS4 and Xbox
it was a last gen game. Yeah,
that kind of just
optimized last minute.
They didn't touch anything for haptic controllers. They didn't like it. Feels extremely
it's your
last gen
game, right? Yeah. And the thing is, I'm watching people on Call of Duty, and they're showing off like the haptic feedback for each specific gun, which looks awesome. But then you have AC Valhalla that's not doing anything. So I guess more it's a Valhalla problem.
Yeah, and I love it. I'm loving the game. I think
I love the game too.
Cool riffs on Odyssey. So I don't want to, but the only things I want to touch on were like if it's the only game I've played on the next gen system so far. That's supposed to be a next gen game that doesn't really feel like it's doing anything to make it that way.
Like it.
There is one thing I have a knock on PlayStation 5 though. Besides the the little UI bugs, stuff like that. It's a new system, so whatever this is gonna happen. But they put out like the blog post on this though. But the home theater sound from the Xbox is way more superior than the home theater sound experience from PlayStation. I feel like the PlayStation sound is like, hey, we made PS5 for people that are going to have headphones. On my headphones, they sound awesome. Thanks, Santino, for those. It sounds awesome. I plug in with the jack to the with the DualSense, and the games sound amazing. But when I take it out and I just play with my home theater with my 7.1,
it sounds dull.
It doesn't sound that great. And I know that they're adding like the 3D sound later for TVs and home theater, but not having that at launch for someone like me, it really makes a difference. Where because sound is so important with these games. Like if you play Hellblade, if you play these games and you want that theater and you don't really want to play headphones, Xbox right now definitely takes the cake. So
yeah, if you have a 7.1 system and it's not sounding like it should there, that's disappointing.
Yeah,
I've been playing mostly in the headphones, so I haven't noticed that. And I got like a 2-channel sound bar, but that's surprising to me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the only new article I've seen in regards to like PlayStation was something I don't think either of you have, because you would have brought it up by now. But do any of you have a drift on your controller yet?
No.
No.
A lot of people have been like returning controllers and calling Sony because a drift has started for their DualSense. So,
did Nintendo make their controllers?
Every article is a Nintendo knocking article.
Well, the people who made the Rumble in the DualSense did the Rumble in the Joy-Con.
That ruins the thing. So
if you guys often
get a drift, let me know.
I often found out, and I'm sure this is a different problem than what they had, but like when I open my AC Valhalla map, I'll see the cursor will be like drifting off, or even in Spider-Man, I think like the cursor will be drifting off. And then I'll realize I got to pick up my thumb because it's on the touchpad. Because the touchpad isn't positioned in the same place on the old one. So that's just like a new tech thing.
Yeah.
But it's like my thumb just rests there, and so I freak out every once in a while. I'm like, what's going on? I'm drifting.
So obviously me and Rob don't have our systems yet. TBD to when that'll happen. These two will hold that down. But as a group discussion, and anybody can start, what are you guys expecting? And I'm talking game wise, looking forward to within the next year or next 2 years from both these systems. And Greg, you can start, and we can just go all the way around.
All right. Well, Cyberpunk's number one. I won't spend much time on that. My own question to, I guess, Amit as well is, if on December 10th there's no next gen version available, will you buy that one, or will you wait until there's a next gen version?
Because this game is so long and I have children to take care of, I gotta start as early as possible. Yeah. That my backlog is so crazy. I just have to get into it, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm not looking forward to it with how much AC Valhalla has to offer. I cannot get through that game in 2 weeks. It's impossible. So I know that's going to go on the shelf until I'm done with Cyberpunk, and then I'll pick it back up. So
yeah, I want to wait, but I don't know.
What are you gonna
We'll
play outside of AC Valhalla when Cyberpunk comes out?
I don't know.
Exactly. So you're gonna play Cyberpunk.
I know.
The videos that they've done with the Night City Wire stuff, though, the game looks good. Even on PS4 and Xbox
it's gonna look
One X,
good.
it still looks good.
It's gonna look good. It's just a matter of performance.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of the problem why it might have had to be delayed was like it's running almost for next gen, and the old gens can't handle it. All right.
Yep.
So moving on from there, though, I'm excited for the first party stuff. We got Ratchet and Clank coming out, which will be exciting. I think surprisingly they're not doing that on PS4, which kind of surprised me since they did Miles and they're doing Horizon. But I guess that kind of says to me it's really gonna be a next gen game. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Horizon, I'm looking for that.
That'll be delayed.
God of War, that's the one that I'm sure will be delayed. And then just like I'm excited to see what people are gonna start coming out with. This part we're kind of getting okay, the new consoles are here, the games that we're expecting are gonna roll out, and that's all exciting. But now it's like I feel like
here.
all the announcements like kind of stopped up to here.
Yeah.
They didn't want to push too far forward. So like we're kind of now back into the anticipation announcement cycle for the next step. So it's a mix of like I can't wait for these games to come out and I can't wait for the hype to come back up and see what's,
That's
in
fair.
the future.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm excited for Xbox to have some first party games at some point.
There you go.
That's what I'm excited for. Microsoft's games are. I tweeted this earlier. PlayStation's going to win the quote unquote console war, right? They're gonna sell more units. No, PlayStation's going to win the console war, right? They're gonna sell more units. They're gonna do this, but the only way Microsoft can catch up to that 360 versus PS3 level, right? Xbox 360 won that console, that generation, in my opinion. Even though PlayStation 3 sold more, I still think Xbox 360 won that generation. The only way they can do that is when they push out their first party games. So you asked what's in the next year or two. I don't know when Xbox games are coming out. That's a problem, right? So when you say, hey, I'm looking forward to Halo, will it be 2021? I don't know. They're saying so, but I'm still looking forward to it. I'm cautiously optimistic that they're going to take their time and they're going to do it right. In terms of PlayStation, though, Horizon and God of War. God of War. God of War is probably one of my favorite game franchises, so that's what I'm looking forward to. But in terms of like Ratchet and Clank, I don't have a history with that. I'm not going to play that. Gran Turismo 7, don't care about that.
Dude, you should play Ratchet and Clank.
Maybe I'll give it a shot.
You have the PS5. It's on the PS Plus collection. The first one. It's maybe 5 hours.
All
you
right.
can zoom through it. That might be.
But would you rather me play Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, or would you want me to play?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. But I mean, like,
these are 40-hour games, right?
You'll need a refresher after Last of Us 2, and that's when you can sneak in Ratchet and Clank.
Okay, it's a palate cleanser.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
All right.
To mellow you out after that.
Yeah, and I have Demon Souls that's waiting, so it's like, oh my God, I have.
Demon Souls is gonna raise your blood pressure.
Maybe that's what I'll play while I wait for Cyberpunk on next gen.
There you go. Yeah.
Rob, get yours in before this cuts us out.
Oh yeah, so based on just rumors, it looks like Sony's trying to have like a Switch level first year. Like if these these things might get delayed, but like you said, Ratchet, it started with Miles, like God of War Horizon, like again, like allegedly coming next year, but like they'll probably get pushed. But like they have like a solid ass slate out the gate, like better than like ever, you know what I mean? So it definitely seems like they're set up for like a good, super strong start. And I'm kind of with the meat where it's like Microsoft has been laying a foundation, but they haven't given us any dates for it. So it's like, who knows when anything's coming? Like, I want to say that I would hope Halo would be out by like the summer, but like, I don't know. Fucking the Avowed game is probably 22, late 22 at the earliest. Fable probably again early 20, like late 22, early 23 at the earliest.
But when those Xbox games come, I think they're going to come fast and furious, man.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
But you got to wait till 2023, right? So it's
yeah,
like,
once they start to roll out, they have so much that they're gonna like even Hellblade, like they showed that. I feel like that's probably I feel like that might be the earliest one of all those ones, but like that's still probably late next year, early 22 at the earliest. So it's just like it's just trying to figure out how they're gonna fill in this slate. Obviously, the medium got pushed, so that'll be early next year. That was a smart push because they didn't want to get killed by Cyberpunk, so I'm not mad at that one. But you know, no idea. I don't
Rob,
think we'll get an update till the Game Awards probably.
Yeah, Rob, I really like what you said about a Switch level start for PlayStation, right? But since we don't know what's going to come after God of War 4, are they going to fall into this Switch lull that it's in right now? Right? Who Switch pulled out has nothing right now. So is after PlayStation pumps out these Ratchet and Clank, Gran Turismo 7, Horizon, God of War 4, or God of War that 4, whatever, the next one. What's next? Right?
Well,
Like
so
that's the crazy part.
I was thinking about that too, but then it's like, they still have those studios who like are in waiting. You know what I mean? We don't know what the next Naughty Dog game is going to be. Obviously, it's not going to be that soon because it just like Last of Us just came out. That'll be like 24 or something. But like the hype train for that will be enough to get you like invested, and then whatever. Just think what they have. They have Sucker Punch, who just did Ghost as well, so that's probably still far down the road. But like the Days Gone people probably aren't going to make another Days Gone because I don't think it did very well. But they'll have something else. So they have a lot of studios, you know what I mean? And then Insomniac split into two, so whatever Spider-Man becomes, whenever that goes after Ratchet, they have options. And then they've been buying stuff like exclusive, like not companies, but like titles. Like they still have Deathloop, they still have Ghostwire Tokyo. Like again, like they're doing smart things. Like they like that. And all that's going to be in their first year still, obviously. But I feel like they're very much working. Again, that even adds to that super strong year. But it seems like all that's working towards like if they keep making those same moves, and that'll add on to shit down the road. But I don't think like I said, we won't know until we start getting these updates and stuff.
Ghostwire Tokyo is the Xbox first party game that's a PlayStation exclusive for a time being. Okay, so first off, the first TVs I got is Sony. It's the the X900H. 2.1 HDMI 2.1 port.
You said
Why?
Or sorry, there's two, but one's an ARC. But so I don't know.
Is
but
it
there
even,
are two.
Is it ARC or is it even EARC?
It's EARC. It's EARC.
Okay. At least that gives a little bit. Okay.
So that there are two. You're right. There's two, but no 1440p at all resolution on the TV.
It's just 4K,
which is
or
why. 1080? So which is why like I don't think the PS5 is doing it. Additionally,
do 1440.
So I was looking at they're not because their TVs don't do it.
Exactly.
No, and Jim Ryan said that there's no demand for it, which I don't know what
bullshit, dude.
It's
everybody wants 1440 now because they're moving on from 1080.
So, and all the monitors are that for
are both of them.
Also, if you upgrade and go from the X900H's LED, if you upgrade to their OLED, 2.1 HDMI slots. They're high-end OLEDs, no slots, no game technology at all in there, no gaming technology, and no variable refresh rate, which is also not the PS5, which is an issue. There's going to be a firmware update for both the TVs and the console, but it seems like they're holding back their console until they can push it to their TVs so they can keep saying our Sony TVs are ready for PS5. Which is
there's some places selling bundles with the TV and
the TVs. They're like
you're
$100 bundles, if not more.
Yeah.
But that's like the LG C series OLEDs for 2.1 HDMI slots. They're all amazing. They have variable refresh rate. It has the 1440s, at 60, at 120.
Right.
Some 1440 is not native for everything, but it's there. Like I think Sony's partially holding some of that crap back because their TVs aren't set up for it, and that's bullshit.
Samsung, right, Amit?
No, I have an LG C8.
Rob, do you have a Samsung?
2-year-old.
So my Samsung didn't even have 1440 when I tried to do it because I knew the One X had it, and you could do 100, either 100 or 120 on your One X, but it was only letting me do the 1080 120 on my TV, so I don't think it had 1440 as well. But I've been hearing more Samsungs, and I think LGs have 1440 capabilities. Don't quote me on that though. Don't quote me on that at all.
Samsung's
But I
tricky.
know
They only have
Sony has
one.
none. Yeah, Samsung's weird with like
They have
how,
one HDMI 2.1.
yeah,
It's
and
interesting.
so like my thing is with like PlayStation going, but we're way off topic anyways.
Yeah.
1080
Sorry.
120.
That's why we got unlimited time now.
Yeah. 1080 120 won't look, and I mean if you're playing at 4K and you want to see everything visually, yada yada yada, looks beautiful, looks crystal clear 4K. Yeah, obviously that's usually on a story game. If you're playing a shooter, if you play 1080 120, you're gonna feel like you're in a brand new game, but it's going to look like last gen. And when I say last gen, I'm talking Xbox One and PS4, not Xbox 360 and all that. And I go back to like what would be awesome for these next gens to have, which I think they're doing. Like again, like how PC has it, you can adjust like low, medium, high, your shadows, your borders, just a bunch of different things. It would be awesome if it was just you had that on top of you can pick performance mode or graphic mode. And I think PlayStation said they're doing that, where in some games when they get optimized, you can pick your like shadow settings and all that stuff. And when that gets to that point, playing on 1080 and 1440 with those added options to adjust is going to be like you'll never play in 4K unless you're playing a story mode, which I don't recommend like doing unless you're playing a story game. 4K, yes, 4K 60 with a story game because you're never moving fast where you're going to see a lot of blur, you're going to see a lot of screen tear, any of that. But if you ever play a shooter or any game that involves a lot of movement, that 120 or that 100, whatever Xbox and Sony can give you, like to me, that is phenomenal for shooters on console because that like playing at 1080 on console or even 1440 with whatever TV they allow it on is a game changer. Like I've only played majority of shooters on my computer and it's 1440 and I get like all of that. And I went back and played a shooter on my old Xbox, the original one. And the game was a 1080, it says 60, but I'm pretty sure it was 30. It was like night and day, and I can't imagine what like 1080 or 1440 with 120 on these consoles is going to look like for COD and for Siege.
That's what we're getting COD Black Ops at now.
Siege is doing the update on December 1st for their the definition of like what the 120 is on though. Their like writing is weird because a lot of it is for 1080 120 or 1440 in regards to Xbox. But then there's like a 4K like thrown in there, and everybody's like, "So is it 4K 120?"
It's this upres crap.
Yeah, and everybody's like, "What is this upres stuff?"
It's weird because like some TVs have really good upresing technology, so I don't know like in a video game does it do that as well? And
it's getting to the point where your TV is going to matter a lot more than what's in that console, and that's where a lot of people are going to have to shell out money when it comes to these new consoles, which sucks. But I mean that's how it goes sometimes. Like I bought a new TV for my Xbox One X because my first 4K TV didn't have HDR.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Yeah. Like the TVs are becoming extremely important for the new consoles, and like it's confusing that being aware of the 2.1 HDMI.
Imagine buying a new $1,500 TV and you didn't get a 2.1.
Oh, and 2 years ago. I wish I would have waited 2 years, right? Yeah. Now oh my God. So.
How many people have a PS5? They buy the new TV. Oh yeah, I know the Samsung has 2.1 HDMI. They plug it in a slot and it's not the right one because it's HDMI 3 of 4. Like it's number 3.
Videos I've seen of people like putting their new console into like an old Insignia TV from like 5 years ago, and people are just killing them in the comments. Like, dude, you just paid for your 360 like $500 to play like you're playing a 360 again.
Yeah.
Well, I was just at my in-laws, and I mean, they're not gamers or anything, but they said, can you plug in the red, white, and yellow for a composite?
Not even component.
That's what, but component for our DVD player. So I'm like, well, let me get back there and look. So like, I'm like, okay, let me move these. I'll move your cable and this into this, your 4K or Apple TV 4K into this, and instead of that, we'll just use an HDMI and like here you have ARC, so we're gonna throw your sound system through there. And they're like, all of a sudden they have Dolby Vision and they have all this stuff they didn't have before. I was like, you just don't know. Like if you don't know, you
if you
don't.
don't know,
You think
and
you got the nice TV. You don't know what you're missing.
that's what honestly sucks about like upgrading anything. Like when it comes to gaming, like peripherals matter and they really matter this gen. And like if you're not going to get the full advantage of your new console if you don't have 2.1, because the 2.1 cable is what, correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, is what will allow you to get the 120 hertz, right?
At 4K,
If you
At
plug
4K,
that into a normal HDMI, your old HDMI, your 4K 60.
That's right.
Or
So
you
it's
could,
like,
you might get 120, but not at 4K.
and what, like the lowest price for a 2.1 decent TV is like $1,200.
At 65 inches probably. Some of these TCLs are
I'm
pretty
not buying a
decent.
TCL when I got a fucking PS5 and a Xbox Series X.
I don't know. Their Series 8s are really nice,
No,
actually.
Even the Series 6 are a pretty good deal.
You're not selling me on anything under a Samsung or an LG. No shot. But
it's like the Samsung little brother. It's the same technology. It's just worse processors than the TCL. But we're off track on TVs now. But to wrap it up with the TVs, I do feel like this is the first time we've seen having these accessories be so important. And I'm calling the TV an accessory, but like it's kind of a step into the PC realm for console gamers. It's not as easy as plug and play anymore. No drivers yet.
Did you say what you wanted to show or what you were excited for in games coming up?
Game wise, you guys, I let you guys go first so I can piggyback off of it. But honestly, game wise, I'm more excited, and it's for good reason. PlayStation is the only thing I'm looking forward to, like their first party games. I've like the last two Halos, I love it for, it's like COD to me now. I love it for 2 months. And then I stop playing, and then it'll be a time where like me, Rob, and the guys will be like, "You guys want to like fire up Halo or Gears for a little bit?" And then we'll have a lot of fun again. But then after that, it's like, we go back to playing what we were playing or something like that. I don't know what I'm excited for with Microsoft. I don't think like you can only play so much Forza. Yeah. Greg said it in a couple of videos before. He's like, they need to prove that they have something, like all these first party games, they have to prove it. And
the more the reason why they need to hold their Bethesda stuff as console exclusive. They can't put it on PlayStation. They need it on there.
Dude, they're going wild over there. Like when people are like, if that's on an exclusive for console, I'm gonna be so yada yada yada. I'm like, hey man, fork over
Elder
the money.
Scrolls 6 will be on PlayStation. That's my bet.
Dude, I would love to see the fine print.
I'll buy you all a drink if that.
I'll do the same.
Scrolls 6 will be on PlayStation.
I'll put a drink up on it.
Yeah, I'll put a drink on that.
I'm gonna be getting drunk that night then.
It just blows my mind that you can buy a studio for, what was it, $1 billion or something?
7.5 for
like
Bethesda.
$8 billion or some shit.
And you're still going to give access to the other console.
I don't think it's happening. It might be smaller stuff. It might be their secondary stuff.
Because you've been quiet the most.
I was gonna say, I feel like the smart move, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Elder Scrolls and Fallout, you would put everywhere to recoup money, and then the other ones would be like only here because it's just
Microsoft is not Sony though. They got bank.
But like you gotta understand, like I'm still like, here's my thing, like that I feel like weird about when it comes to like Game Pass is like how it's changing the way they're developing games, because Gears 5 when it first launched, it was like super tailored towards like microtransactions, where like Gears 4 you could just like play a bunch and then get mad unlockables that way, and like Gears 5 it took them like
a year,
all the way until like almost a year for them to fix it, where you can like
play they got their money
stuff. Like you know what I'm saying?
It wasn't
and, like,
a fix,
I
it
feel
was
like
all right, we made our money.
I feel like they're adjusting it in a way because of the cost of people not buying as many games. And so I might be wrong, it's just a theory based on how Gears launched, and if that's accurate, then I could see that being a thing where they're like, all right, so here's the franchises that have been everywhere. But we have like 20 million Series X's in the wild, but they have 70 million PS5s. Hey, this is on your console, but it'll be coming 6 months later. Or this is on your console, but like this other stuff isn't. Or yeah, you'll get this, but the Xbox version will get all of this extra shit. I feel like it'll be one of those types of deals, because I feel like it's smart, but at the same time, there's still that group of people who are like, oh, I have a PC. Why would I get a fucking Xbox? So it's like, I think you can move units and get more money, especially like, oh, $8 billion is a lot of money.
So
That's like leaving on the table by like not giving it to Sony people. But like not all of it, obviously, just one or two.
The same point as what you made with the like they have the studio house, like, and they can move it, pick where they bring it essentially. Sony's got like first party exclusives that you can only get on Sony. And that's a big reason why their sales are way ahead of Microsoft, right?
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't Microsoft rival that with we've got one of the biggest gaming studios and it's only here? This is what's going to drive our sales for our system.
It's not only there though.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why, like it's like.
But I'm saying with them
in their
owning
ecosystem.
It's they in their own ecosystem. It for $7.5 billion.
Like
they can make that where it's just there.
But like it doesn't tell the system because everything on Game Pass has to go to PC as well. I guess is my point. Like it's not only on the system. Right? Like if
that's still the Xbox world though. Game Pass, whether it's PC or Xbox, it's their world.
They want Game Pass subscriptions, right? So I don't think the console matters. I think that if the console mattered, I don't think that they would put out an S. They just want people to be in their ecosystem. If they want people to shell out money, S would not exist. It would only be here's Series X, and you have to pay $500, not $300. If they just want people in the ecosystem. And so they want people there. And yes, you can play on PC, sure. But as long as you got that sub, $15 a month. I know there's ways around that. But if you got that $15 a month and you got people subscribed there, that's what they're looking at. That's the numbers that are driving. Because, like you're saying, you just said, hey, there's 70 million PlayStation people, right? But if they say, hey, we have 70 million subscribers,
it's a win for them.
I was gonna say, I know that's definitely going to be the language they use this generation because, like, like during the 360 generation, like every conference, they're like, we had sold this many 360s, and then when they started to have that super like big gap between them and PS4, they stopped talking about that. Right? Definitely, I've talked about that with Santino. I'm like, this generation, they're going to be talking about their subscription numbers.
It's going to be very important to see how they word things.
Yeah, but I just feel like, I understand the idea of like blocking it off to get subscription numbers. I definitely think they'll do that with most things, but I could see at least one or two of those franchises being on PlayStation and just having extra stuff on the Xbox or PC version where it's like, oh, get it on Game Pass for the best experience or get it here early. Like, like Sony's been doing these 1-year deals. Like, hey, Elder Scrolls is out in November of 2022, but it'll be on PlayStation in 2023 if you want to wait a year to try the game out. You know what I mean? Like, I could see them being I understand both aspects of it, and I feel like there'll be at least one franchise from those studios that'll be on Sony stuff.
I just think,
Go
ahead, Greg.
Go ahead. I just think it fits the Xbox mantra of like play any. Not, I know that means play anywhere, like in your ecosystem, but really like, hey, we're just trying to play the way you want to play. So it's like, let's take our big games. We're looking like we're the good guys saying, go buy it on a PS5 for $70. And what better way to like grab new subscribers other than it being exclusive, but you can keep this mantra. And then you got PlayStation gamers. Do I want to pay $70 or that's getting the game for 7 months plus all this other stuff if I go over here? And it's like, I don't know, like unless like I'm not even a big enough trophy guy to play it on PS5 when I could play it on Game Pass. I think it kind of creates a juxtaposition in people's minds where it's like, wait, all these guys get it for the price of Game Pass and I'm paying 70. What am I doing? And you get to keep your mantra, your like this vision of Xbox being so open and sharing and not the anti-consumer Sony picture they painted, even though they're not really being anti-consumer.
See, I'm the flip of this. I think, let's say Deathloop wasn't going to be on PlayStation first. Let's just say it was going to be 2 years from now. I think a game like Deathloop is something that they would release on all consoles, but they're big ones, like the Elder Scrolls. That's what they would keep. So they would give their like smaller games on everything. But if you want to play,
the biggest problem though if they do that though.
But that's what's going to drive people to them. They'd be like, oh yeah, we can get a few Xbox games. They can recoup money with the little ones.
But is a 40 million unit gap? Is that this one $7.5 million deal going to be like, all right, well, I only get Fallout 5 on Xbox. I'm dropping PlayStation and going there for one game. Like, does that even like I'm
Fallout's a monster though. Like Fallout and Elder Scrolls are monsters. People will go.
but
Like,
that's just
for
like my
those
example
games.
though. Like, are you
It'll-
going? And I'm talking like, is that going to bridge the gap? We're just using a hypothetical number of PS4 so far ahead.
Totally fair, and it would be probably pretty smart for them to do it that way. I just think that in the ecosystem, Sony has been painted as that we're going to go out and like make our exclusives and we're going to hoard them and no one can play them unless you have our stuff. And Microsoft has been trying to be the opposite, so much so that it's got Sony painted as anti-consumer. And if they start buying up big things and then hoarding them for themselves, all of a sudden, are they?
But that's where the whole Play Anywhere comes in, where you can play. Hey, you can play on your console, you can play on PC, you can play on your phone. We're gonna have an app that comes on your TV soon, because that's what Phil Spencer was just talking about with, I think it was The Verge. He's like, hey, we're working on an app that you're gonna be able to stream straight to your TV. You don't need a console.
Hey,
right?
If you don't want to worry about console wars, be like us and buy both consoles. Because then you're just gonna get, it's a never-ending cycle of.
All right,
Yeah.
so one of us will have someone a beer in 2028 when that game comes out.
I'm going to die on my hill that Bethesda, for all the money they paid, is going to only have it on the Xbox.
I'm with you.
I'm not even talking PC. I'm talking strictly Xbox.
Oh.
Like, it's just gonna be there.
I don't think they'll do that. They've doubled down on the Play Anywhere too
this
long
Game
for them
Pass
to take
thing
that
with
back.
games going to PC and Xbox at the same time. I don't know if that's gonna be like a forever thing, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think they'll go.
They're really walking themselves back.
I was gonna say I don't like.
Yeah.
They'd have to get a big lead for them to take it back. I think. Like I don't
know, man.
People don't start like they're still recouping the mind share. I don't think I could see them taking that back unless they started to like really start moving units. They could be like, oh, fuck it then. You know what I mean? But until that happens, I don't see that being.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting.
To me, it's like with their new console, that would be their way of selling their new console. And I know they've said they're not concerned with numbers for their consoles and yada yada yada. But to me, that's just like, that's the hill I'm willing to die on for Xbox.
Yeah. Again, I don't think you spend $7.5 billion to be like, oh, we need to recoup that money now. They're part of a huge corporate. Sony doesn't have that luxury. Microsoft does. And if you told me this was 2014, I would say, okay, that would make sense because, Xbox is dying. This is their last ditch effort.
On their last leg, yeah.
Phil Spencer's been come 2017, he's turned this whole thing around. And I think that's what their faith is like, yeah, go spend whatever. It's going to work.
I think we'll have a lot more clues as these first party games start getting released.
Yeah, we need first party games in general.
Yeah. And not only first party, some of these ones they've acquired as well.
Because I'm at the point of
or the first party acquisitions, but
playing games, even if I get one of these new consoles where I'm like, all right, what old game can I go replay? Because I don't know what the hell I'm gonna play now. I hate the next gen lull of you played Spider-Man or you played the game you just played, but it's optimized and you're just like, all right, what do I do now?
It is pretty brutal, and it's nothing new for this console.
I'll say it's normal though. This
it's the norm now.
Like, this is, if anything, at least for PlayStation, like one of the strongest lineups they've had. Like at launch, but like usually this happens. There's like
within 2 months of the new system, you're forcing yourself to play COD or something.
It's all quality. PlayStation's just putting out the quality right now, and it really shows.
Do you guys think? And I'm talking long term, and we got to make it up because we don't know what Xbox is dropping in regards to first party. And we talked about this before, but now that they're actually out, is Xbox going to close the gap this generation?
I think leading in to whatever console comes next, so that's 7 years from now, I think that gap is going to be closed just because, as I said earlier, once their first party titles start dropping, I think they're just going to come every 3 or 4 months. It's going to be insane. They just have too many. They have 23 studios, and they're all working on stuff, and nothing is coming out until Halo, which, like I said, is 2021. But after that, we don't know, like Rob was saying. So once they do start dropping, they're just gonna come hit. They have to be good. They're gonna be hitting the market, but they got to be good, right?
Yeah.
So, but if they are good and the quality is there, if the quality is there, they're going to have so much coming into the market that I think that it's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Obviously, they have to close the gap, but I think they can do it. And I think going into next console, we're talking 7 years from now, I think it'll be there if they hold all those Bethesda titles.
So I think, I mean, you know better than me. I think one thing important to look at, like how often we see these at the market. Like I don't know the 23 studios that well, but like, you know, like Sony has a bunch of studios and you get your Naughty Dogs, your big games, and then you get your, every once in a while we release some indie, we release a Dreams, we release things like that. Don't get too big, but like, so I'll have to look more into Xbox to really know how I'm going to feel about like how flooded the market's going to get with these first party games, and are they going to be system sellers? I think if you count S and X, Series S and X together, I think there's going to be a big gap close. I think they're going to make up a lot. I think if Microsoft believes in it and they stick with it, I think the S is going to have the longest tail of any of these. I think get past the holidays, get past the rush. Once everybody who can get one early wants their console, I think it's going to be S's flying off the shelves. I think once everyone,
we predicted that. We
yeah, and I
videos
think
ago.
that alone though is going to really, like when you get to the non-first adopters and you get to that second tranche of people looking to buy their console.
Yeah.
This one's 300. Grandma's going to pick it up at the store.
It's hard to
right?
say
Like
no to, yeah.
it's the easy upgrade. It's not the punch in the, wallet.
Ungrateful ass kids, Mom, but I wanted the X.
But I think that's really going to have some legs once we get out of this kind of first push of early adopters.
I agree. Rob, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I feel that.
You got anything more?
Oh
to add
yeah,
to that,
no,
Rob?
I was gonna say I think the gap will be smaller than this generation because the PS4 was just crazy. But until you mentioned the X, I was gonna say I don't know how big of a gap close, but I definitely can see it being significant now that I think about it. Just because there's always that whole thing with like with 360, it was like, oh, you got a 360 and a Wii, you know what I mean? And like, so I can see it being one of those things where like the Series S is cheap enough to the point where it's like, cool, this is my main thing, but I can also have this, for people who just play console, for kids, for lots of different like range of people. I think that they definitely have a solid option by including that. I think that will make it.
Before I give my point, and I just thought about this once Greg said that Series S is 300, and every time, like, to say 300 is cheap it's not cheap. Obviously, $300 is a lot of money. But if you think about it, in 2 years or 3 years from now on a Black Friday, you might be able to get a brand new console, Series S or S Pro, whatever they do, for like $250. Like,
$199.
You know what I mean? Like, think about that. You get that console at $199 sometime down the line. Like
the SSD alone's worth more than that.
That's what I'm. You know what I mean? And like,
well, who knows in 2 years?
Phenomenal. It's 2 years, 3 years away. But like, you got to think you're gonna get next gen for people that don't upgrade, like, or don't have financial means to upgrade within the first 2-3 years of the console coming out. $199 for next gen for people that like hardly game or something, like that's a steal. Rob, I got something.
Okay, so like I thought about this when I was playing Miles Morales, right? Because every time we have this conversation, we talk about how like Microsoft needs new IPs, new things. But like, I just think they just need things to feel fresh. You know what I mean? Because two of the generation defining games like that people talk about in like the super high regard, Breath of the Wild and God of War. Very old games, but just that got very refreshed. Like they made them feel new again. Yes. You know what I mean? Which is what I feel like they were trying to do with Halo when they like.
Halo's dead, man. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Halo's dead.
I disagree with you. I mean, I think the news like is making it that way. Like gamers like the meme. We're like meme lords, so like they've slandered the game to like hell before it started.
It's so cringy they didn't update the marketing to reflect that game wasn't coming out.
They probably should have for sure. But like, anyways, like in that whole gameplay trailer, that whole thing where like you pick the spot on the ring to go to do specific missions. Like if Halo were to take shape as like kind of how Ghost of Tsushima is, where you can like travel across the way, do the main stuff, and have side stuff, like it might feel new again. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's what Halo needs. And so I think about Perfect Dark I think about like how, to me, I never played Perfect Dark. A lot of people haven't played it. It's like a cult classic, one of those things. You know what I mean? So
No,
I
no, no,
feel
no,
like
no,
even
no,
though
no, 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 no. The Perfect Dark Zero is a cult classic thing. Yeah, Perfect Dark on N64. Holy shit, that game was amazing.
all right.
It was amazing. I'm the 64 guy. Remember, I went
I was gonna say, yeah, maybe
I
I was
also
doing
played
my own there for that one. But
Dark Zero.
you know, like, yeah, so you know, it's like one
I'm
of those
with
things
Rob,
where
I
I
didn't
feel
play
like
him.
that game is gonna be new to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so like even though it's old technically, I feel like in the year 2022 or something, it is entirely new. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But outside
Yeah.
of that, I think my only fear with it is that I don't think it should be an FPS again. Because like I said, we have Halo.
Yeah.
Gears feels more like is a shooter more than like a third person thing. If they change that completely, where they made it like a third person spy type thing or whatever.
Yeah, Splinter
like,
Cell.
Yep.
Splinter Cell's gone.
I think then it'd be like,
Splinter
okay,
Cell.
cool. Here's Perfect Dark, and it's not what you think it is. It's this brand new experience. Then I think it would be worth being excited about. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. If they did something like that, I would be totally on board.
Before I make my point, Amit just said Splinter Cell. So they added Sam Fisher in Rainbow Six Siege this past season, and his name is Zero. And I told the kids I was playing with that I'm gonna play Sam Fisher, and they said, "Who? That's not a character."
Yeah.
And I wanted literally to crawl up in a ball and harm myself because they didn't know who Sam Fisher was, and it hurt my soul. I don't Ubisoft. I know you don't want to give us a Splinter Cell game anymore. You're just gonna market him on random things. Yeah, dude, it's terrible. It was.
Oh, how about 007? We don't. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God, there's so many
I got
games.
a question.
If you guys all get 007, I'm buying a console so we can play together. Just so you know that.
But
Okay,
is it?
so
Go ahead, Rob.
oh, sorry. Okay, so
There you go.
again, like thinking about the IP thing, when I was playing Miles, I was like, man, like Sony's like, for me personally, my favorite Sony IP is like a Marvel IP, right? And so it's kind of like, what, like, obviously, like I thought about the Bond game, but it's like, what, like, IP franchise, whatever, would like make the Xbox or whatever,
Wolverine.
like,
No, not Wolverine.
A Wolverine game, man.
No
well, I thought about that too because there was a
I'm not
Wolverine
doing
game a couple
Wolverine.
years ago on 360
No.
where that was really good, right? I don't remember what it was, but I remember
That would
people
be
liked it.
awful.
But like, yeah, it's like what franchise would they need to pick up that could rival?
Not
Spider-Man.
Wolverine, but an entire X-Men franchise. Just revamp it. Give me a fresh X-Men game that isn't it like how the Marvel game that just came out is. It's got to be a superhero that's like even like that rumored Superman game by Rocksteady, but it has to be a console exclusive to Xbox.
Well, Rob, who were you gonna say? I don't think we ever got to.
I honestly didn't. Well, so like I was sitting there like thinking about it, and then like literally like 2 days later, that's when that Bond trailer came out, and I was like, what if like Microsoft was just like, hey, here's a gang of money. This is an Xbox exclusive game now.
I'll buy a fucking Xbox right now if that Bond game is exclusive.
Good enough to like make
if they just buy
needle,
IO.
you know?
So like,
I think buy the stuff. Just buy the game for a little bit, you know, like.
I don't think it'll be anything like a Bond game we've played before, though. Like, it's not gonna be. I think it'd be super cool if they did it like Hitman, and it was like you're you're James Bond, you're at a party, and your target's there, and you have to do all the things around the world. Add in some car chases, all that cool stuff, but. Now, I hope it's not just a first-person shooter.
It
definitely shouldn't be a first-person.
It should be like what you're talking about. Version on there though, like a homage to GoldenEye. If they do a mode like that on there, I'm playing that for 10 hours.
Just no Z aim.
No inverted
Go
aim
back
either. Amit's gonna destroy us.
Oh my God, get out of here! That game started inverted, man. GoldenEye started inverted, and that's why I'm always inverted.
You had to hold Z to aim.
But since
it just started that too.
Rob brought up that topic, I think we were really banking on Rocksteady to be that buyout from Microsoft for the Superman
when they were up sale or whatever.
And since they don't have that, you know, it's Spider-Man is going to be forever on PlayStation, whether people think so or not.
Yeah.
Sony has the rights. Like there's no way they're not going to be like, all right, your turn, you could get it. No, they know.
No, they got the movie rights. They don't have the game rights. They just have the movie rights. It's just something worked out with Marvel with the games.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, he's in Ultimate Alliance, he's in like all that other stuff, so he can be in video games. It's just that they have like a handshake deal for the games to be on Sony.
The games,
right.
But I don't know. Yeah, they need a superhero game though to like exclusive to get them like superhero games are like the perfect thing for it too.
Unless you're this new Marvel Avengers game that lost.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if it needs to be a superhero game, but it needs to be something that I think
needs to be something exciting. Yeah, just no more first-person shooter exclusives, please, because I'm tired of it. But what is that it, guys? I think that's it.
I think so.
I don't think Greg has energy for his speed round, so
yeah.
sorry for that.
Yeah, no.
Oh, dude, we haven't recorded in such a long time that we just have so much to talk about.
It's been a while. Yeah, so this is probably like an hour and a half video. So if you guys watch the whole thing, thank you.
That was super.
Podcast.
Anyways,
thanks for doing the editing.
Amit gets to close. Greg, you better get on your big boy pants because you're closing next video too. So Amit, take it away.
Okay.
All right. We have so much good stuff happening. It's the end of an era, and now we're coming into this new beautiful time. Santino and Rob will catch up to Greg and I soon, but we have plenty more next gen stuff to talk about. We talked about how we feel about these games now, what's coming up, and I think that it's just an exciting time for all of us. I hope you guys are all excited as much as us. If you made it to this point of the video, we know that you are.
Might be sleeping.
Yeah. But yeah, give us a like. Let us know what you liked about it in the comments. If it's too long, we'll make it shorter next time. But no, tell us what you're excited about. And I'm just ready to go back to Valhalla. It's 11:51 p.m., but I might go play it right now.
I'm playing it right now too. So
I'm hopping on. Okay.
All right, guys. It was fun. I will talk to you guys soon.